Looks like Iron Rock Off-Road got their hands on an XJ. Guess it's project time. Hey guys, Patrick from Iron Rock Off-Road here. So you can see behind me, we got an XJ that is ready to become a project. Now this thing showed up on a flatbed trailer just as you see it now. Nothing underneath it. It's a clean slate. It's just a carcass. Now that made it a little bit tricky to get it off. We're used to just driving these projects off a trailer to get them in the shop. Couldn't do that this time, so we had to use a forklift to get it off the trailer. Once we did that, we had to find a place to put it. We weren't quite ready in the shop for it yet, so scramble up some pallets, put it on the ground, and then just kind of wait for its time to come. Well, the time came, we're getting geared up for the project. Now we got to figure out how to shimmy it into the shop.
Easy. That pallet might shift quite a bit on you back there. Hold up.
We're using the forklift, pallet jacks, just tons of pallets and boards, floor jacks.
You guys are doing great.
Now what you're going to want to do here,
Told him it wouldn't work. That isn't going to work. Because we're going to be out here, it's not supported. So we got to go only straight in, right in the center of it.
What do you think, Alex? I mean, it should work.
I think that's going to be a key.
I love being ripped. A little sketchy at times, making the angles and the turns to get onto the angled hoist, but we finally got it.
I am forklift certified.
So now we're in, now we're ready to start the project. This is going to be a fun one. So like I mentioned, we got a clean slate underneath this thing, which means it's going to be getting the Iron Rock catalog thrown at it. We're going to be doing some uniframe reinforcements, long arm treatment, and to cap things off, really HD drivetrain upgrades. So you're going to want to follow this build from start to finish. So to kick off some of the install on this project, we're going to start with our DIY rear bumper. Now we got our 3/16 main body here. We got some end pieces, our 1-inch thick machined D-ring mounts, got some internal gussets, and depending on your year range, this one does fall into the style that needs a filler here for underneath the tail light. And then we've got our 1/4 and 3/16 uniframe mounting. Now we're going to start getting buzzed together. I'm not going to be doing that. As you know, I'm not a welder, so we're going to leave that to one of the professionals we'll see here in a moment. But we're going to get it put together, but we're not going to do the install quite yet today because we do still have to get the rear frame stiffeners on, and we may or may not have to do some trimming for the potentially gigantic tires going on that. So with that, let's get welding. So like I said, I'm not a welder, so we're bringing in a pro, the original Iron Rock welder, one of the owners, Derek. He's going to be kind of taking over from here and kind of showing us how things go together. Derek, where do we start on this?
Well, so we're going to start by laying out our main body, our 3/16 main body. We've got some detents in here that we've got laser cut into it that are going to help us to align our parts. I'm going to take our gussets, I'm going to put each of those into place. Once we get all those into place, we're going to dry fit all of our parts, make sure everything fits together, make sure we know where it's supposed to be. Once we get all of our end caps will come on here, and we'll get our alignment all set so that it's as easy as we can get to weld it. Once we get everything all kind of mocked into place, then we'll tack weld it. Once we know that that's all fit right, it all looks right, it's going to work, then we're going to come in and fully weld it. But everything we've done with this has really been focused on making this easy for your average person to be able to build it. You know, our D-ring mounts are going to slide in. They're just going to slide in. We're going to do, oops, got it upside down. Slide in and lock into place. Then we'll take a square to make sure they're nice and square to the world. We've got a nice easy connection. These parts are going to be just our attachment parts, so we're not going to need to worry about that in the welding process. That'll just be in the installation process.
Perfect. Sounds like we're ready to start welding here.
Okay, we're going to get these D-ring mounts ready to attach, but we've got a couple things going on. We want to make sure that we're square, so that's why we're bringing in our square. But then, of course, we've got to have a little bit of tolerance when we're building this. So our hole is a little bit bigger than the D-ring mount. So we just want to make sure we're centered. Makes that weld go a little bit easier, give you a little better finished product when you're done. I want to make sure I put my tack at the end of the joint. That way it's nice and cold, so as I come in and I weld into it, it'll be a nice seamless transition. Okay, we've got it 100% tacked up, so I'm going to double check, make sure that everything's aligned right, make sure I didn't get anything cockeyed, make sure I've got 100% of the tacks done, and we'll be ready to start welding fully. So we're almost done welding, so we're just working on our filler caps right now. So these filler plates, you're gonna have a mounting plate and the filler itself. So there's 2 holes in each, so you'll be able to line that up on the bumper. And your filler panel is gonna go sit on top, and you're just gonna get it good and tight, so we've got no gaps on either side. And at this point, you'll just put a couple tacks on it, so the 2 pieces are joined together, and then you can come in, put just 3 stitches on it. It won't take much. It's not a structural piece. It's going to come in and it's going to fill in right here to cover this gap between the taillight and the bumper.
All right, Derek, looks like you got everything pretty close to fully welded here. Now, as I'm looking as a non-welder, I'm seeing, some full passes, then I'm seeing some stitching. Can you kind of tell us briefly, where you do a full pass and where a stitch is sufficient?
So really the full passes we're doing on any of the exterior stuff to where it's going to be exposed.
Visible.
Yep. Exactly. And anything that's internal, really, there's not a lot of structure to it. Our structure is going to be from this D-ring mount to your bracket. That's where our strength and our structure is. Some of these things are just to make sure if you do hit a rock, it doesn't collapse. So we do some stitches back there, and that's more than enough to hold it.
Sure. So we know, some people are doing welding on their own. They prefer just to full pass everything with the mindset of full strength, bulletproof, can't break it. Do we have any worries about the amount of heat going in to do a full pass on any of these pieces? Or if they chose to, is that fine?
If you really want to go all out, you can weld 100% both sides. It's not needed, but if that makes it feel better, knock yourself out.
Well, it's all about the warm and fuzzy, right?
Absolutely.
So it looks like we're on to the D-ring mounts. Looks like you got your passes up on the exterior pieces. Are you going to be doing on the backside here at all?
Yeah, so what we've got is the bracket you're holding is what's actually going to attach it to the uniframe. And that mounts on the outboard side of our D-ring mount, and those holes will be what you're going to bolt it together with. So we don't want to put any weld on that side because that'll get in the way of having full strength of the bracket. So we're going to come in toward the center of the vehicle. We're going to come in and just put a couple stitches in to try and hold it. The strength of that, it's already fully welded on the exterior of the bumper. So if we put a few stitches on the inside, that'll be all the more it's going to need, and this thing's not going to go anywhere.
Well, and the fact that it's being bolted there too, that's where a lot of that strength comes from, right?
Absolutely. You've got the D-ring mount is going to be bolted directly to the bracket, directly to the uniframe, and then this ties it over to the other side. So when you're putting force here, it's directly through a bolted connection. So even if your weld skills aren't 100%, you don't need to worry about it. You've got a real good solid mounting point, but it's also attaching through the bumper and getting some draw on this other side as well. So that's really going to give us the ultimate in strength.
Perfect. All right. Well, I'm going to get out of your way and let you finish this bad Larry up.
Sounds good.
All right. We are fully welded up huge thanks for Derek for stepping out of the office and helping us out with the build. So thank you.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, stay tuned for the future episodes in this build series because that's when you're going to see us put this thing on the Jeep.